course, that might be because the atmosphere inside the Etihad Stadium, for those who I know sadly cannot be there, is absolutely electric. And I think we really are trying to do that whole being the 12-man thing. But what a 45 minutes of football. Some of the most unbelievable talent on display, of course, some of the most unbelievable individuals, and two incredible teams going toe-to-toe. It is half-time at the Etihad Stadium, and it stands at 0-0, which, as we do know, that point for us at half-time does mean that we will qualify. Not necessarily top of the group, but that point is enough to secure us, of course, qualification. But we are, of course, hoping for that win. And joining me to get into all that half-time action is none other than, of course, Nedum Onuoha and Shaun Wright-Phillips, who are bouncing into shot, which tells us they're happy with those 45 minutes, Nedum.
No, we're just warm because we've had to run over. That's quite the experience. Sorry we're late, everyone. Apologies.
I mean, 45 minutes, unbelievable. What did you make of it?
It's a great 45 minutes for City. I think we started slow. PSG started come out the traps first, I think, but once City got settled, they started possessing the ball as we know they can, created chances. And they
genuinely out of breath here, by the way, if you clock that.
Guys, I'm unfit.
This is 40s club here. This is brilliant. Oh, look at old man Shaun.
Yeah, for me it was great. We nullified a lot of their threats, kept them to long-range shots, which is always good when especially you have Ederson in goal. So I think if we just keep going, more chances will come our way. We just got to be wary of the way PSG are playing, because a lot of their strikers are hanging out, trying to force City's fullbacks to sit back, which we ain't doing, so that there's a lot of room on the counter-attack.
And we were talking a lot about the formation before, and it would seem, of course, we're trying to look at the enigma of Zinchenko and, of course, Cancelo. It seems that Cancelo is actually playing the left-back role with it seems to be Bernardo or Oli Zinchenko between them playing the false nine and then one dropping into midfield. Is that working for you, Nedum?
I think for the first maybe 10, 15 minutes, it was strange because there were times when, say, City would be on the break and they wouldn't necessarily have somebody who was the focal point. But then as the game settled down and we've learned sort of little patterns that PSG like say some of the 1-2s to Hakimi on their right-hand side and so on, when it balanced out, all of a sudden those players are now getting into better areas, better pockets, being able to turn and create some more chances, and they're still throwing themselves into the box as well. So I think it works when City have got more just sort of controlled possession. On the break, maybe it's not great, but perhaps it's not going to be one of those games. But for now, I think as the game was progressing, I think at the start, the first few minutes felt like PSG had a lot of possession. But City have had 55% of it in total for the second half, so it just goes to show as the game was carrying on, the City were getting better and better, and I guess that's to do with the formation.
Now, do you think, Shaun, we might be a little bit, I mean, we'll take the 0-0, but a bit sad maybe not to be going in 1-0 up? I think we had a few chances, forced a few saves, but the big one that stands out, Ilkay Gundogan hitting the post, which I was sure was going to hit the back of the net.
I already jumped off my seat.
And the Mahrez one earlier. You see the Mahrez one when it hit the side net.
I already jumped up. But no, I think all that's doing is giving them more and more confidence to get in those positions, because they know they're creating chances and getting good opportunities from them. So I think all it will do is we'll see the players that are in those positions get there more regularly, and the balls will be coming more frequently because they know was created from them situations in the first half.
Yeah, Gundogan as well seemed to really, particularly that last 25 minutes, Nedum, for me, I think kind of really started just dictating the middle of that kind of the pitch and then playing it either left or right, and was, I mean, again, obviously saying nearly scored.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, all these players are great players. You know, I think Rodri and others in there have done well as well. But Gundogan, he seems like he's setting the tone, setting the tempo. You know, and he's doing that from the attacking side, which is key. He's making some good passes. He's driving when he needs to. He's trying to play some through balls when he can. He's throwing himself in the box as well. Because you understand that as far as winning games goes, to score the goals, everybody has to chip in. It's not just one person that's going to be able to be relied upon to do so. And I think he gets it. I think the more I look at him, the more I understand. I understand why he's captain. There's, in fact, is he?
I think he is. No, I think he is. You think he's got the captain's armband on side?
And that's with Ruben on the field. You get it, and that you can see in the way that he plays. He's very confident in his position. He knows his position. He knows what makes the team tick. And he's trying to bounce off that and feed that into the team. Because, as I say, the first 10, 15 minutes wasn't brilliant. But come the end, I think a lot of people are on the edge of their seat because they're expecting something to happen. Yeah, absolutely. Love. We can't forget as well in the Together documentary, we got that great rousing speech of him in the dressing room, didn't we, before the Champions League. So all the credentials on show. Well, I was going to put a couple of these questions to you boys, but I'm going to start with this from Wilson. Manchester is blue. #1 fan, thank you, who said,
What's today's cryptic city? Funny you should ask. Well, of course. No, we were that busy, of course, building up to arguably one of the most exciting games of the season. We didn't get a chance to squeeze it in, but we're going to do it now, of course. And then we're going to dedicate this one to you, Wilson. This one is to you, my friend. So get your guesses in on the WhatsApp or using the hashtag. I've got it. No, I don't. No, I don't. Do I?
You know what? you know.
Oh,
no, I'm wrong. Sorry.
Right, do you know what this is?
You're asking the worst person, Chief, but I'm going to give it a go at full time, and I'm going to just.
Okay, if you're mate, we're going to sit on that as well. If you want to get some guesses in during the game or now, use the hashtag Man City, or you can use the WhatsApp as well. It's quite difficult, that one.
Yeah, I think someone's got a bit of a chip on the shoulder in creating that.
Producer Daryl.
Whoever that is.
Wish we could just take a camera and turn it on Daryl. Everyone's going to want to know what you look like, Daryl. Let's look at some of these quick questions as well from the WhatsApp. This is a question to you both from Marcelius, who says, is there an ex-City player that you've played with that you think would be able to not only fit into this team, but maybe improve it?
I think improve is massive.
Yeah,
improve it is
tough.
massive. But I think in terms of people having their sort of legacy within the team, people who are sort of my age group, I would have liked to see Stephen Ireland get a chance to be around these sorts of players. I don't think he necessarily would have improved it, but I think you would have seen like how good he actually was.
Yeah.
But aside from that, I'd go maybe a Nicholas Anelka.
Nice.
You know,
nice.
obviously we had Sergio,
of course,
but Nicholas also had like a certain era of City, which wasn't necessarily the shining light of our campaigns.
Very true. Very true.
Me, I would honestly say Al Belkovic.
Really,
I think he was one of the best players I think I've played with at 1 and 2 touch passing, and in and around that area, this is exactly the way City play. They want to take 1 and 2 touch, moves the ball quickly, and create a lot of space. So I think he would slide straight in perfectly nicely.
It's quite interesting, isn't it? I mean, Al Berkovic as well. Imagine seeing him in a Pep Guardiola team. Of course, 0-0. That does secure qualification, but I think we're obviously going to be playing out for the win. So moving into the second half, first of all, any changes to what you can see being the game plan, and then Shaun, I'll ask you about personnel. But as far as game plan, Nedum.
As far as game plan goes, I think there were 1 or 2 times where PSG were able to sort of break out from the press City were trying to put forward, a bit too easily, and City were on the back foot from that. But I think they were trying to tweak it during the game, and they got better with it. But I think from the managerial side of things, it's just ironing out those little problems that you had, because they're going to play in a certain way. And if you don't play into their strengths, then you kind of limit them as a team. So I think he would have isolated those and just tried to deal with them going into the second half.
And for our personnel, we touched upon it a little bit for me. And obviously, PSG's bench is a joke. Usually, we say the same about City, and it kind of still is. Still a little bit light just due to injuries. Who would you be maybe looking to bring on, possibly, Shaun, if that's required?
Well, when me and Nade was watching the game, the only thing we kind of saw that, to us, that both saw that could possibly change, which in a way wouldn't change too much, is maybe bring on Jesus, and possibly then you could drop Bernardo back, and then you could play with Jesus through the 9 or on the right,
okay.
And then you've got like your midfield back to the personnel that everyone's used to seeing. But other than that, there's not much I would change, to be honest with you. I think that they've done fantastic. We've got to also remember they're playing against a fantastic PSG team, and that they're still doing really, really well and creating chances.
Well, we were just talking as well, actually, just kind of before we came on air, though. I don't really remember like a clear cut thing. There was one just maybe slightly before the end, but Edison not really having to do too much, which you got to say credit to our boys in
for sure, because I think defensively, I'd say you can make it as hard for them as possible, and I think overall they've not really made any mistakes which have encouraged PSG, but they will still create chances, but they've committed bodies in the right areas. PSG have had a few moments, like, I think overall people look at chances, but I think when you're an ex-player, you get a sense of danger in certain moments, and they've had 1 or 2 where you you're thinking, oh, something's going to happen here. And those tend to lead to something else. So I think overall City have done well, but it's expected, as Shaun says. PSG are a brilliant side, and as far as it goes, they will create something. We just have to make sure, as I say, you don't give them anything, and that's probably my only sort of thought going into the second half, is don't give them encouragement, because if you do, I'm sure they'll punish you.
But I don't know about you boys, I was saying before, quite a good, it's electric atmosphere, and I think that's playing a real part in trying to lift the boys, Shaun, as well. I wanted to ask, Zinchenko in that midfield role, obviously we're not finished the game yet, but how do you think he's done in that position in the first half?
I think some people forget that's his actual position. Yeah, do you know what I mean? I think he's done well. Like, for somebody that's been out of favour, you could possibly say, in a way, because Cancelo's been playing that well. He's come into a position that he obviously knows very well, and I think he's done well. I think it could have gone either way, and it's gone a positive way for him.
Really has. Hopefully we'll be talking about waxing some more superlatives about him come full time, where we will be with you Matchday live. So come back, please, and join myself, Shaun, Wright-Phillips and Nedum. We're going to dig into all that 90 minutes that we've watched. We've also, of course, got to reveal the answer of Cryptic City. We'd never forget that, ever. I know some of you with the keen eye. Thank you again to Willisont as well. And remember, Alistair Mann and Michael Brown are your commentary team for today's game. Brilliant listen. So if you go on the Manchester City app, you can get full commentary on there. And any questions that you want to put to our guests at full time, get them in on the WhatsApp, and I'll do my best to work through as many as we can. 0-0, we are qualified. I can tell you as well, RB Leipzig are beating Club Bruges 4-0 at Club Bruges. So I think that will just cement qualification. I think we were looking at as well.
Just
before.
the 4-0 at half
Just
time,
the 4-0. Just the 4-0. Right, we'll be back at full time, guys. And fingers crossed we'll be talking about a Manchester City win. Great first 45. Here's to the next 45. Thanks for watching.